Hi everybody. Today we have video number 8, I believe. We have another laptop. It's a Sony Vaio. It's very early, as in Windows XP, as you may recognize from the logo there. It does not boot. I don't have the power adapter for it. We're just going to tear it down after we do a tour. Okay, the tour of this Sony Vaio. You can see it's missing a key, which is fine. There's no model number that I see here other than Vaio. Has a few indicator lights here. There's the power button. Those buttons, not real sure. There it just says Sony. Keyboard, here's the Windows XP. And it has mobile technology. So that was a Intel Centrino, probably comparable to the AMD processors of the time. There's the recognizable Sony Vaio logo. Let's see, on the sides we have, that's Ethernet and modem. Ethernet is the larger one, obviously. Here's a CD drive. That's not USB-C, obviously, on an age of this. That is a lock. You could get laptop locks. It would be like a round key that would lock your laptop there, and you'd have a cable that would then run around the leg of the desk or something. On the front, we do have this lock that would lock the lid shut. The other Dell we did, it had a clasp on the lid. This one's on the base. And then you pull that to the side, and there's the clasp that would get stuck in there. Okay, so you got to see that. Let's see what's on the other side here. There's audio ports on the front, a bunch of indicator lights. Whether the WAN was on or not. There's a PCMCIA slot. There's 1394 FireWire. That is Sony's specific slot. I don't recall exactly what they called that, but yeah, Sony had memory sticks that would go in those slots. There's 3 USB ports, VGA, and power. I don't believe there's anything on the back end of this other than the exhaust fan. That appears to be it. On the bottom, we have the battery here. That is a lock, or just a locking tabs. There's more of the service tag number and everything. They did service tags a lot like Dell did. There's the Windows XP edition, home edition. There's information on the device, a Model PCG-7D2L. I do not see a date on there, but I'm sure we'll find a date somewhere maybe. Oh, yes, recycle. Look at that. That's exactly what we're going to do. All right, let's open this baby up. We're going to start with the bottom, pull the battery out. That was easy. That is an official Sony battery. I'm sure it is dried out and not usable, but there's the battery. I do recycle those. Let's get some of these screws out. See how many of them we can get. Well, looks like this may work. That one may not come out. Yep, that's not going to work, but we'll get one we can. Okay, there's the RAM. Only has one RAM module in it. We'll get that out the rest of the way here in just a minute. I'm not sure I can get to some of these. Some of them I can, some of them I can't. That's really interesting, the way they would do different screw hole sizes, depending on what was in there. So let's look at this RAM. There is 2 of them in there. I misspoke earlier, I believe, when I said there was just 1. There is 2. Let's see what we got here. They are a matching pair. 256 meg of PC2 3200S. How about that? So it had 512 meg of RAM in it. Yeah, that'll tell you the age of it. Let's see if we can get these covers off. Well, there's the hard drive. Let's see if we can get that out of here. There. Okay. See what we got. Well, we can't tell what we got. We got more screws to take out here. No. Sorry. There we go. All right. Got a little cradle here. Okay, you can see this is an IDE laptop drive with the pins. It's not SATA. And there, it's a Toshiba, once again. Disk drive, 80 gigabytes. Look at that, 80 gig. So, pretty old. All right, let's see what else we can see here. Now that we got the battery out, there are some screws that were behind that. Let's see, can we get the CD-ROM drive out? That's to get the screws out, hopefully. And CD-ROM drive is here. That should come right out, since the screw is not holding it in any longer. Well, it looks like there might be this screw here holding it in. Let's see if we can get that one out. There we go. Now this should come right out. Nope. What else is holding it in? I'm not real sure. That drive should come right out though. You know what we can do is, with the faceplate on there, like I said before, there's always a hole for these things, and look, it's right there. If I hit that, in that area, I believe it was right here, the drive should open up. There it was. Ah, look at that. Surprise. PS map. Wonder what that is. We'll have to figure that out. Now let's see if the drive can come out. Nope, that is still in there very solidly. Very interesting. Well, we'll have to play with that later. Let's see if we can get the bottom cover off now, at least. Or many times to do this, you'll have to go to the inside and get some screws in here, possibly. See, this will come off. Look at that. So there's screws to be under here for the keyboard. 4 of them, actually. I'm not sure if that'll... Look at that. Okay. Ribbon cable here. Here you go. Broken keyboard. QWERTY, that was the T. All right. Now let's see how many more screws we got. Doesn't look like any. How about that? Oh, there's the CD-ROM drive. That's interesting. These are Wi-Fi antenna cards. Why are they on the, there's a screw head right there. You can see corresponds to that, you would think. Or is there Sometimes they put them under these stickers, but I don't see it. But yet there's a screw head right there. And there's no screw in there, I promise you. Look. That screw is out. Not in there. In fact, oh, look at that. Ah. Again, with the, that must be technician initials, I would think, that put it together. Very interesting. And there's the part number, indicator lights. Well, very good. All right. Now we can get the CD-ROM drive out because the screw was internal. Well, if I can get that screw out, that is. Oh, there, it did come out. It just was sticking. Okay, now it's still stuck. Wow, that was, okay, that must be a bit unusual. Again, this is an early one. It seems like it's held in much more than it ever would need to be. Wow, very interesting. Now, without those screws in, does it come? Ah, now it comes out. So it had screws here and here, also holding it in. So let's look at the drive. Oh, I can't close it. There we go. Let's see here. Sony DVD CD rewritable. There's the model number. August 2005. So it is 20 years old. How about that? So there we got an age of the system. So how about that? There's a serial number in Chinese. Very interesting. There's the date in Chinese as well. How about that? All right, what else can we get off of this? Look at this Wi-Fi card. That's a big one. Just has tabs on the side of it here. Yeah, that's a biggie. Wow. That's a big one. It may be Wi-Fi. Well, it's an Intel, which is interesting. Intel Pro Wireless 2200 BG network connection. So yeah, that's the Wi-Fi card. Big one. Much has changed. And then these cables, oh wow, they're hard soldered onto the board, or onto that board. Oh, see that? It has a board screwed onto the board that has the wires hard soldered on it that went to the Wi-Fi card. And then those connections there met up with what? That's really interesting. There's no connections there that it would have connected with. So that was wild. It has, yeah. Very interesting. Did it connect to the bottom of this? Oh, I bet it did. No, it would not have. Well, again, we'll watch the video. You'll probably be able to see better than I did. We got this one here, which if that other one was Wi-Fi, what is this one then, you say? Well, let's see if we can find out. This one, wow. Approved idea for use in Singapore. You see that? This may have been Bluetooth or modem. Oh, I bet this is the modem. If we look, this cable here went to it, and I bet that comes around. Yep, that's the modem, because it comes right up into these ports that we've seen earlier. Look at that. And the Ethernet one, I bet that goes to right there. Okay, look at that. All right, interesting. These were the RAM slots. This was the Wi-Fi slot, but you see they're very similar. All right, let's get the fan out here. Look at that connector. That looks awfully big for a Wi-Fi laptop nowadays, huh? But that is the power connector, which we can get out there, I bet. Maybe not yet. Maybe we'll have to tear things a little farther down. let's see if we can get the processor off here, or the processor heatsink, and then we'll get the processor. Well, nothing holding. Wow. Look at that. So what I will do is we'll get this fan off of here. You know what? I'm going to use my regular screwdriver for this because they are awfully small. And I don't feel like driving a drill bit driver Phillips head into my hand. So we'll just do this way. I believe it was too small for that drill bit anyways. All right, look at that. There's the fan and the heatsink. Don't see any dust in there. Isn't that kind of wild? Zero. I hope you can see that. There's no dust in there at all. Pretty wild. Now, what do you think this heatsink is? That's probably the video, I would imagine, but let's see what's underneath that. If I can get to it, I will. Well, I don't know if that's, I hope it's aluminum. I imagine it could be. Nope, that is cast iron, not aluminum, I don't believe. All right, look at that. There's our processor. Let's get a screwdriver to get that out. And again, it's just a quarter turn, and then it pops right out. If I can grab it, that is. Or did I just, was it loose already? No, it was not. That's wild. That is that hard to get out? Or do I have to turn it far? Ah, I didn't go far enough. All right, well, there you go. Look at that. That is a Intel. Doesn't say much. Does it say up there? Kind of says something there. Doesn't say anything on the chip itself, but there you go. There's the Intel chip. Hopefully you can see that okay. A few pins. But yeah, there you go. How about that? All right, let's see what else we can get off here. Let's get the motherboard out. Oh, let's get this one first. Let's see what this is. I bet this is that Sony specific slot. Yes, this was that Sony specific slot of memory cards, I believe it was, they had. Yep, memory stick board. Wow, look at that. There's the part number probably. This is quite interesting because Sony did have, again, they were very proprietary. I believe they still are. But yeah, this was their memory sticks. Very unique and proprietary. All right, now get to the screws on the motherboard. Hopefully these screws are all big enough for my drill here because I don't want to do all these by hand if I don't have to. There's probably a few more of them around here. Or is that it? No, there's one. Feels like there's one here somewhere. Oh, I believe we have a hex bit one there that is holding. No, that's not holding it on. Okay, I thought that was holding it on. Well, it looks like we have one here where the battery would connect. Okay, look at that. All right, got the motherboard out. Look at that side. There's the PCMCIA slot. There's the audio connections. There's the motherboard, part number, and everything for you. Definitely made by Sony. There's an even more, I guess that's the serial number, yeah. Oh, here's the CMOS battery. Kind of interesting. I will take that. At least I think I will. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay. Button. Okay. Maybe power button. Maybe that was a reset button. Not sure. No, it wouldn't have been power button because that was in the corner. But oh, mouse buttons. Those were mouse buttons from the underside of here. So the mouse control was directly on the motherboard. Wow. Okay, there's a look at all those ports. Again, there's the 1394 port. That was FireWire. Intel coprocessor chip. That was probably video. Anything special underneath this? Probably not. Nope, just a blank spot. Grounding line. All right. Well, that is that. That's where it would dock into a docking station. I guess they made docking stations for these. That was, I think, connected to one of the other boards, but again, probably very proprietary. There's the power port. In fact, let's see if we can get that out now. Well, that's the speaker. I'm not going to get that out, I don't think. Let's get the screen off. Let's see. Is there screws on the back side of this like the other one? No. So that means there might be something on the inside of this. Let's see what we can tell. Let's open this up and see if we can get the screen off. Yes, there's screws right there and one on the other side. So let's get those off. Okay, and these cables would come right off. All right, there's our screen. It is not cracked or anything, just dirty, maybe a scratch there. But we'll give that to the recycler, just like that. But again, these are the Wi-Fi cords that went up to an antenna that was probably right up in this area, maybe both sides. This was the cable that went to the display itself there. So there's that. All right, so now we have this. There's the palm rest. We got a speaker. There's the power. Yeah, that does not appear to be coming out. Oh, there we go. I just flipped it off. So there's the power connector. That there's the part number and everything. There's the touch pad. That looks like it might come out. Let's see. There's quite a few screws just to hold the mouse pad in. Or the touch pad, you would say, I guess. Yeah, that does appear to come out, depending on tape and everything else here. Ah, there's the mouse buttons. And then this looks to slide out. Yeah, look at that. It slides out, or pops out. And there you go. There's the touchpad. Very thin. I believe it. Obviously a lower resolution than what we have today, but still interesting. And that's what was holding it in. So here is the leftover case. All right, let's see what we have. Okay, we have this, which again was interesting with the signatures on the inside. Very cool. Battery. We'll put that with the batteries to get that recycled. And that box is right there. The IDE hard drive, made by Toshiba. Again, it was an 80 meg, or 80 gig, I'm sorry, 80 gigabyte. The motherboard, we went through that pretty well. Just the very typical. Keyboard is trash. Obviously, it's missing a T. Pretty confident this is cast iron. That won't be recycling, but this definitely has some copper on it. That makes it more worthwhile. The fan, random cables here. Cut those off just to be consistent, I guess. There's the palm rest. There's some other wires. I guess I could get those. Not a lot of wires in a laptop, as you could imagine. I mean, there's a lot of wires, but they're very thin. Again, but while I'm here, I might as well. Speakers were there. I just ruined those with the cutting the wires. Hope you didn't need them. Again, panels, plates. Yeah, this memory thing, card slot was probably the most interesting. Hard drive bay, cover, cast iron. This was interesting, this large Wi-Fi card, and also how it was connected with this. That was interesting. I guess that's about it for the RAM. Matching pair of PC2 3200S. Again, 512 meg total. We'll have to see what PS Map is all about. Maybe you have an idea with that, maybe not. But we'll see. All right, so if I make a video of that, I'll add it on to the end. So, but if I don't, again, thank you for watching. Probably have a few more laptops to do. So if you like laptops, you'll be filled up with those here in the next bit. Trying to get them all done today. So thank you for watching. Check out my other videos, and we'll catch you on the next one.